Okay, you guys, welcome to our why call. I'm so excited to get into this and to really nail this and also hear from some beautiful women. We have two women that need to go really quick because they have pool parties and school stuff going on. So we're creating solutions. We're going to let Lara and Nicole share their whys, share their thoughts really quick, and then we'll get into kind of the beginning of the call. So Lara, are you ready, babe?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so, this is always our foundation. I feel like anytime we're talking about sharing and anything, you have to have a really solid why. When you're stepping into your purpose, which I feel like Plexus has helped me do that, it's way more than supplements. It's way bigger than I can even imagine, honestly. But as I'm stepping into my purpose, which I feel like the foundation of why I'm here is to encourage and uplift people and help them step into their purpose. And you know what Plexus has helped me do is release that anxiety, help me get out of the darkness and the depression and the fog where I could only really focus on myself and barely on my family. It's helped me like all of that be lifted so I can show up better, and in that, it's like a domino effect. We can help others show up better. But when you're stepping into your purpose, guys, I will guarantee you there's opposition. There is opposition in everything, and opposition will come as you start to show up. And your why needs to be your foundation. That needs to be what you build everything else on, but it needs to be at your core. I know that my journey has been slower than a lot of others, and but I'm pretty consistent, and I've had a pretty consistent business over the last 3 years. And you know what? It's because of that solid why. I got to take my children to Disneyland this year because of Plexus. 10 kids, Disneyland, and we ended up buying, that wasn't our plan, season tickets, which was a really good year to buy them. You know that because it's closed. But we were able to, I can give my kids experiences, and that's kind of part of the foundation of my why is to give them experiences, even though I chose to have 10. I don't want them to sacrifice their childhood because I chose to have so many. I want them to experience life that I got to experience growing up. I did have 7 brothers, but I want them to experience that. I want to serve. I want to give back. I look at child trafficking and how I can not do anything for it myself, but I can fund and give money to them and help support their cause. And really getting deep down to why do I want that extra money? Why do I want to help people? Why do I want to see people? And I loved the call before, how he kind of talked about, what gets your fire going? Like what gets your heart on fire to share? And it's those moments where I had a girl text me and she's been doing it a week. She lost 6 pounds and hasn't had a headache all week. Like all these little things where you're seeing people healing. And are people going to quit? Yeah. Are there going to be times where you're like, I've quit Plexus several times, for a day, and then I start back up again. Like there's times where you're like, why am I doing this? Like this person that I love is treating me like I'm trying to sell them something when I'm not. Like they don't know my heart. You're going to be misunderstood. You're going to be mistaken. People are going to not know your true heart sometimes, and they're going to misjudge you. And that is all part of the process. But as you're stepping into your purpose, as you're stepping into something bigger than yourself, as you are becoming really who God needs you to be to show up on this earth, you have to have that why. Because opposition will come, thoughts will come. You're going to have, there's always opposition. And Satan wants, I feel like anything else, he doesn't want people to feel good. He doesn't want people to feel better. He wants us to be stuck where we can only have like Christy always says, our arrows pointing in. And so as we can step up and step in. So for me, my why is really give my children that opportunity, and for a long time I had it stuck up there, Disneyland. When I started 3 years ago, I wanted to be able to take my kids and not be like bum squinching when you see how much it is, right? Like, how much is that going to be to take all those people to Disneyland? I want to be able to give back, like all of those things, like put it together and get to your core. One thing I love that we did, and I'm in a hurry, I know this is going on. When I went to Align in January and they had us do was go 7 layers deep. Like, so I want to help my kids. Well, why? And ask yourself why until you get emotional. And honestly, as I was sitting there and I was writing out, okay, well, if my kids have this, then why? Like, why am I still showing up? Why am I still doing this? Because if you're just going for money or whatever, it's going to be, you're going to quit pretty fast. You know, you have to figure out what your purpose is. And for me, when I got down all those 7 layers, it has to make you emotional. It has to make you really be like, this is it. This is my purpose. And my purpose, which I'm going to share with you, is to help women see theirs, is to help them see how much God loves them, as much as He wants them to show up in their lives. And for a long time, I wasn't able to show up the way I wanted to. And Plexus has given me that tool that we can share with others. So I don't even know if I made sense, but
You, of course, always do. So inspiring. Oh, I love it. The Disneyland thing with 10 kids is not a small thing. That's kind of amazing.
it's big, but it's such a blessing, you know, because my kids keep asking when we can go back. I'm kind of sad that this is the 1 year we bought tickets and they can't go. It's fine.
I love
It's
it.
fine. But yeah.
Wonder Woman, off to the races. Thanks for sharing. Nicole, are you ready?
Yep. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I mean, I think when most people start sharing, it's because they feel changes and they're like, oh, I want to help my friends and like maybe get my products paid for. I mean, that's how I was. I never thought that you could actually make legit money with network marketing. I always thought it was just side money, which is what I always have done to help support my husband. I'm like, you guys, I'm going to get really emotional. Something that I don't talk about a lot because I feel like if I talk about it, it means something about my husband not being good enough when it comes to providing. But we've been married 13 years as of last week, and it has always been a struggle financially. Like when we talk about financial sickness, like that's what we've had. And when I started sharing, I don't even know how I got to Senior Gold. I remember sitting down with Christy and she was like, okay, just add like 16 people a month and you'll be Senior Gold in 3 months. And I was just like, okay. And it just kind of like worked. And I don't know, I had some people sharing in the beginning that ended up falling off and I lost their whole leg and whatever. But it was exactly what God knew I needed at the time because I was doing lashes like 6 hours a day. And I was telling someone today, I'm like, I didn't even realize I had anxiety when I was doing lashes because I was like, oh, my baby's like crying or they're waking up from their nap or they're hungry or whatever. And I was so stressed out all the time. And I was such a people pleaser. Like I couldn't say no. It was like, oh, you need me to squeeze you in? Okay, I'll squeeze you in. Oh, you need a discount? Okay, I'll give you a discount. And it was just always just wearing on me. But it's just always been a battle for us. Like our whole marriage, it's always been a battle financially. And so when I started doing Plexus, I didn't really think that I could make money. And then when I realized I could, I stopped doing lashes. And that was such a blessing for me because I had just had my 4th baby and I don't know how I could have squeezed it in. But then I wanted to just tell you a little story about my life. So my husband's done a lot of summer sales, and there was one summer in particular where I had 2 kids and I had driven all the way out to South Dakota, I think, or whatever. Is that where the presidents in the mountain are? Is that South Dakota? Anyways, I driven all the way out there to see my husband because I hadn't seen him in months, and money was so tight, you guys, like so tight. And I drove home all by myself with kids. I was having bowel issues on the way home with 2 kids. And I got home to our little apartment, our townhome that we were renting. And right when I unlocked the door and started to open it at it was dark outside and so I was kind of scared. It smelled like someone had died in my home, like raw flesh. And I was so scared that I couldn't even go inside. And so I ended up driving another 30 minutes to go stay the night with my sister. Well, the next day I had found out that my freezer stopped working when I was gone, and I had lost all my food in my fridge and my freezer. At the time when money is that tight, I had no idea what I could do for my family. No idea. Like, I didn't even have money to replace that refrigerator full of food. And so I actually ended up going to our church and going and getting food and freezer goods and diapers and all those things, which I was so grateful for. But I never shared that with anyone because I was like, oh, I can't say that because I don't want people to know that I'm really struggling. And then right when Christy's call started, I opened up my freezer and I was like, my freezer's not working. And I lost a bunch of food just like 30 minutes ago. And it reminded me of this. And my thought wasn't, I can't afford food. It was, wow, I am so grateful that I made the amount of money that I made last month. So I'm not stressed out at providing for my family. And so my why, most definitely, is the fact that I never want to see that look on my husband's face when he comes home, where he's stressed out because he doesn't know how we're going to pay the bills. And I never want to worry about shopping for my kids when it's back to school and getting things that they need. That is definitely my why. But when COVID hit, I was in a really bad funk with my business, feeling all the things that Christy shared before this about, does anyone even really want to do this with me? Like, what am I thinking? Who am I? And when I saw people I know that were losing their jobs or their small businesses couldn't open, it was the first time in my business that my mind shifted from, wow, I'm not the only one that feels that way, that there are other people that are struggling just like we are financially with financial sickness. And that's when I created momentum in my team, because I stopped thinking about me. I wasn't just like, oh, poor Nicole, she doesn't have enough money for this or that, da 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 da. Poor me, my husband's had surgery, you know what I mean? I stopped thinking about me and I thought, oh my gosh, there's somebody out there that's waiting for me to show up. And I love what Laura shared about how she wants to empower women, because that is my biggest, deepest why, is that I know there are women sitting in their bed depressed, wondering how they're going to take care of their family. And some of them are single moms and some of them are married moms, and a bunch of them are struggling in their marriage. And my biggest why is that I want to empower women to know that you can create anything. You can change your life. You are in charge of your life, and that you can have abundance and you don't have to stress all the time. And that's not really like God's plan for you, to be like constantly worrying. So that's one of my biggest whys, is loving women, helping women feel empowered to do, anything with, anyways.
Nicole, holy moly, dude. Chills across the board to all the people on this call. That was so beautiful. How many of you related super deeply with what she shared? That look, how many of you know that look on your husband's face when you're like, I'm sorry, we have to have this talk again, but here we go. How are we going to figure this out, right? How many Nicoles are out there, you guys? That's what we need the takeaway to be. There's a bigger purpose. And I love what you shared, Nicole. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much for squeezing this in to your very.
You're welcome.
We love hearing from you, and you added so much value to this call. Okay, you guys. So just really quick, I want to continue with what we've been talking about, and we can do a little bit of like what's happening this week at the end, really quick. But so the power of a why, you guys, it's the secret. If you're struggling with anything in your business, it's time to revamp your why. That why that you have might start as something really small. I don't want you to think, oh, I have to have this huge experience. And Christy always tells that story, and I'm going to tell it in a minute. I wasn't going to, and then I felt like I needed to talk about this, and I'm going to get super emotional. But guys, don't think it has to be super huge. It can be something as simple as, I really want to stay on my product so that I can be healthy for my family. That's a huge why, because your health matters, and the way you show up creates a ripple effect in your home, and it's teaching your children things, right? So even if that's your why, that's big enough. Nail it. Get intentional with it. Like, create it. That is a great starting point. But again, we're all different. So I want you in your beautiful heart to ask yourself, like, really though, why am I doing this? Why do I feel called to do this? Who's affected by my choices? Who's affected by my abundance, or who's affected by my scarcity? Like, if we are struggling financially, it's not just affecting us, it's affecting people around us. Our children, that matters, because they're watching us and they're learning and they're patterning their beautiful little minds after what we think and what we do and how we engage. It matters. So I want you writing while you're hearing these beautiful women share, because the point of this call is for, again, to go into your beautiful heart and to dig out some gems of things that are maybe you need to excavate. Like, what's my why? Why am I here? What fires me up? What's my vision for what this could be? So really quickly, I want to share with you when my why was born, and then we can move on. And we have 3 beautiful women that are also going to share their whys and a couple of thoughts. But you guys, I was on Plexus for 90 days before I did any sharing. Did you guys know that? You guys just see Christy now and you're like, oh, she's always been super passionate. Nope, I wasn't. I was in Kimberly's office one time and she was like, gosh, something is different. Like, what are you doing? You just look happier and you're losing weight and you just look like, what are you doing? And I was like, I eat a lot of edamame beans. Maybe that's it. And she's like, I don't think that's it. But you guys, I was really timid about Plexus. For 90 days, I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't enroll one person. I didn't go Fast Start Silver. I was super against sharing. But the why changed everything. And that's why I'm a freaking loony girl over here, jumping up and down about the why, because when I got solid on my why, everything changed. Like, I was skeptical not sharing, and now look at what we've created. What shifted? My why. Okay, that's why I'm sitting here talking to you about this. We had gone on a girls' trip with my cute little Benji boy, who was 3 months old, my little Dolly that I was just nursing all the time. And he was like basically my heart outside my body, a newborn Dolly, right? And we were on this trip down here in St. George, actually right over there. I can see the place where we were. And we were here just enjoying some time. But I was praying about Plexus because I was starting to feel the nudges that I was supposed to share, and I was resisting. But I started to feel them, and I couldn't deny it anymore, because you guys know I'm a God girl. And you also know that I care about helping other people. I've always been that way. Even when I was skeptical, I still said, Kim, maybe you should try this, when I wasn't doing it, because I love helping people, right? So those things were all in place. And I remember turning on, I was literally like, I had butterflies thinking about this. I put Benji in this huge king size bed in the condo that we were staying at. And he was asleep and it was peaceful. And I tucked him in and I took a picture of this tiny Dolly in this huge bed. And I went and turned on my bath water, and there was some tan tile sitting there, and the bath water was flowing. And I was just praying. Like, I knelt down on that cold tile floor and I said one final prayer for the weekend. Like, gosh, Heavenly Father, tell me, am I supposed to do this? I don't want to. I really don't want to. Because I love people and I don't want to strain relationships, and I don't want to like ignore my family. My plate's already full. But I knelt down and I said, please though, if like this is supposed to be, please tell me. And I guess I'll do it. The reason why I'm emotional is because my answer was very clear and very, very undeniable. There are thousands of people waiting for you. You need to show up. I'm looking at these faces of these thousands of people right now. That is my why. That's why I started this. That's why I'm still fired up 4 years later when our needs have been met and beyond. That is my why, is to create healing in hearts, in bodies, in marriages, in families, in the world by effect, to show up and be my contribution. I will never back down from that. I will never unsee what I've seen. It is there. And we'll keep finding these beautiful people. And you guys, we are linking elbows to find the thousands, because there's thousands more that are going to be impacted from this core group of 26 people on this call right now. It's just the beginning. That is my why. We are here to heal from financial illness, from physical illness, and as an effect, we can heal spiritually and show up in our God-given purpose, because it freaking matters. It freaking matters. That's my why. But it doesn't have to be, you guys. That it started out that way and it's evolved, right? Oh, Lori, I love you. Like, I seriously and sincerely, from the most beautiful, like genuine place in my heart, when I look at all of your eyes, and even you that are brand new, and even you that I don't talk to a lot, like, you matter to this team. You are one of those thousands that were supposed to be here. So I'm going to skip to this point and then turn it over to my beautiful friends. But you guys, even if your only why is here you are, you're here. You're listening to this call. You're taking Plexus. You're thinking about sharing. I will affirm to you over and over again, there is no accident that you are here right now listening to this. People need healing. People need what you have. They need financial healing. They need physical healing. They need to be part of something. You're here and you have a unique network that no one else on this call can get to. If that's your why, anchor it. Put it down in the earth and be anchored to that why, and don't you ever look back. That is a pillar, as I call it, that when the storms come and you feel, oh my gosh, is this real? Is this gonna work? Oh my gosh, you hang on to that pillar and you let the waves take your feet, but they will never take you because you are anchored to that pillar that is absolute. Okay? All right, Kimberly, will you share with us, beautiful friend?
You bet. First of all, thank you, Christy, for being willing to share. Because of you, we are all on this call, and so grateful. So grateful. Okay, so Christy talked about how your why can evolve. And honestly, when I started these products 4 years ago, I started because I was a single mom and I had zero energy. I was the sole provider of my 2 boys, and I really, truly, I was just trying to like keep up in life. I'm a nurse practitioner. I was working 2 jobs because when I went through my divorce, I really liked the lifestyle that we lived, and I wanted to keep that lifestyle for my kids. And so I picked up another job. And so many people do that. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but guys, this is an emotional call, so I give up. Anyways, I picked up an extra job because I wanted to provide everything that I could give my boys that they had before. So that's what we do. If you need more money, you get another job, but that takes away from your family, right? Well, I was at a point in my life where I was struggling so bad, I couldn't even show up to be the mom that I wanted. And so I started these products for me. And it was all, I don't want to say selfish because it's not selfish to take care of yourself, but that's why I started these products. And 90 days in, kind of like Christy, I made a post and I shared because I was feeling so good. I did not want to do this business. I had zero clue I was going to do this business. But I made a post and I shared it with my friends, and I had a lot of friends join. And, a week later, I got an email saying I had some money in my account. And at that point, it opened these doors for me that I really hadn't had open in a long, long time. Even though I'm a nurse practitioner, I struggled financially. And I want you to know that it does not matter what job you have. So many people have financial burdens. About 6 months before I started these products, I spent 8 weeks without a job as a nurse practitioner. I had 2 weeks of paid time off, and then I had no savings, zero. And I could not work. It was an issue with my license. It's a long story. But for 8 weeks, I could not work. And I burned through 2 weeks of vacation real quick. And then I had 6 more weeks of trying to figure out, how am I going to pay my bills? And it got to the point where I actually had to ask my parents to buy my groceries. Here I am, a nurse practitioner, and my parents are buying my groceries. I want you to know that financial illness happens with any degree, no matter where you work, no matter what education you have or don't. Financial illness happens all the time. And like so many of these people that have talked already, people need help. Anyways, so my why evolved quickly when I saw that there was opportunity to maybe have some financial relief. And so I started dreaming, and I was able to start focusing on, becoming financially free, because I had never had that in my life. And what I experienced 6 months before that financially devastated me. And here I am 5 years later trying to pick up the pieces. And it happens all the time. So my why evolved into financial freedom, and just to get my family healthy financially and physically healthy. And pretty soon, guys, a couple years ago, I got remarried. That opened doors for more financial freedom. I was able to go Emerald, and financially, I started doing really well. And all of a sudden, my why evolved, because just like Nicole's on my team. And when I started seeing women change, and when I started seeing them have the same opportunity that I have, that is what my why became about. And it wasn't about finances anymore for me. That's not what my why is. My why, just like Christy, is about my team, and is about the women that I know are struggling, that need community. Because as women, we provide an amazing resource and a beautiful community that the world doesn't want women to have. The world does not want us to be happy. And in this community, we get to provide a lot of happiness and joy and purpose for women. It also provides financial relief. And that is what I see on my team all the time. And I look at these faces right now of some of my team members, and I know what it's done for them. And so my why has totally evolved to the women that I get to help change their lives. And my heart is so tender for single moms. And that is who I'm looking for, because I know how hard it is. I was a single mom for a long time, and I know how hard it is. And I know that this opportunity can change lives and hearts, and it can heal for generations. And so that is what my why has totally become, is about changing women's life, empowering them, and letting them know that they can be their best self, and that they don't have to be financially or physically sick. That's it.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. So inspiring. And thank you for being so vulnerable, because that is what we want to hear, is the real story, right? Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Kimberly. I know that your story is unique, and it touches a unique audience that needs you, right? To share that. Thank you so much. Katie girl, are you ready?
Yes, my heart's just pounding with the vibes that we've got going in this call. I'm so grateful for Kimberly. I will always have gratitude to her for what she's given me. This business and the health that I have, all of it was from her. And honestly, guys, like, that's part of my why, is I want to do the same thing for someone else and to have that much of an impact. I don't take what I do lightly at all. My why, I mean, I remember when I first started sharing, and I was like, all right, let's do this, Kimberly, because I had been on the products for a whole year, you guys. I went silver pretty quick because I did a post in my first month, and I went silver pretty fast because I saw awesome changes. But then I was like, no, I don't want to do this business. I was doing something else, and I just wasn't interested. And so I freaking paid for my products for a year. It makes me so mad now when I look back. I'm like, why? Anyway, so I finally was like, all right, let's do this business. I want to start helping other women, because Plex has transformed my life completely. And so we talked about my why, and my why has always been that I want to help other moms come out of their shell, or I just want other women to blossom in the way that I've been able to blossom. I want other women to have that gift. And so that was kind of where I was at the time. And then I went to convention, and I'm sorry if any of you guys have already heard this story, but this is my why story, and I love it, and I want you guys to hear it. I went to convention, scared out of my brain, nervous poops. I was so scared. I remember calling Kimberly on my way to the airport. And I was like, I'm so nervous. I didn't know Chris. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone. And we were staying at this house and I was so scared. But I had this feeling in my heart that I needed to do this. I needed to do it even though I was scared. And convention is really where I solidified my why. And I want to tell you a little story about Chris. I don't know if Chris remembers this. I've probably told her a few times, but I don't think Chris understands how much of an impact that she had on my why. Okay. I adore Chris. For any of you guys who don't know, I love her. She feels like a sister to me. I just connect with her really well, and I love her. We've slept in the same bed many times, and we are just really close girlfriends, right? Chris is the best. So I met Chris for the first time in 2018 at convention, and I just instantly loved her. And I got to hear her story. I got to hear Liz's story, Liz Batchelor, for those of you, I don't know if you guys know her, and I got to hear a few other people's stories. And I loved that. That was my first experience really hearing other women's stories with Plexus, their health stories. And I heard Chris's story and where she was before Plexus, it was not a good place, right, Chris? And she wasn't able to be the version of the Chris that I got to know. She was different before Plexus. And I thought to myself, because Kimberly shared with Chris, I get to enjoy this version of Chris. And her family gets to enjoy this wonderful version of Chris. If it wasn't for Kimberly sharing with her, Chris being able to be the woman, the amazing, beautiful woman that she is, that has an effect on a lot of people. Not just Chris, or not just her family, but a lot of people. I mean, we're talking waves, and it's not just Chris, it's all of us on this call. By healing ourselves and getting healthy, that makes big waves for a lot of people in a lot of big ways. And so that was really where my fire was lit, because I just realized how powerful this is. What we have is so life-changing and beautiful and powerful. And I love what I get to do. I love it. And I love helping my girls with my team and their businesses and all of that. But my why still in the fiery part of my heart is still that. I still want to help. Above all else, I want to help everybody to feel their absolute best and to live their best lives and to just be happy and be the best version of themselves. And so, I think my why has kind of like added on, and there's more things that make it more dimensional, but my heart is pounding still, because I really love my story of how I found this why. And I love the money we make, and I love this business, and I love our company, and I love our team, and I love how much I've grown and blah, 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 and all those things. But like, I had to go to convention, and I had to meet Chris, and I had to meet all the other women on our team to really understand the impact that these products have on people's lives. It's huge. And so that's my passion, and that's my why. And I'll never ever, we host these calls 3 times a week with our team. We've been doing this since June, and it's freaking catapulted my team. Like, it's been insane. But one of my favorite parts about these calls that we do is getting to listen to a lot of my girls and teammates share their stories. Like Marissa shared her story today, and I loved hearing it because it was in a way that I've never really heard her share before. And it always makes me I feel so good when I hear how good she feels And she was talking today about how her relationship with her husband is like amazing now. And it's just affects so many things. And it's just, I love hearing people's stories. Sorry, that I went way over.
Katie, that was so beautiful. And I love the dimension about like even just the transformation within our team. Like we get to watch that. How cool is that? Katie, watching your transformation has been so inspiring. I remember that moment at convention and looking at you now, like, what? You are like excavating the divine version of you that is meant to be. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. Sammy Jo, will you finish us off?
I don't think it's fair I have to go last. I've been like adding to my notes and I'm like, oh, I have to share that too. But I echo a lot of the things that these ladies have shared. But my why started with desperation for help with my health because I couldn't think outside of me and taking care of my family because I was so sick. And I didn't realize I was feeling that way really as bad as I was until I started feeling better. But I couldn't even consider sharing publicly how I was struggling with mental health or with my rheumatoid because I didn't want to help people. I didn't know how to help people. I couldn't even help myself, right? In person, I could share about mental health issues because it felt like I could tell them how I've kind of been coming out of it, but I just didn't really know how to share on a bigger scale. And it was kind of crazy. So my why was 100%, I need to get healthy. Like I couldn't even think of anything else. I didn't want to make money. I didn't want to share. I didn't have any other goals. I was just wanting to get healthy. And then I had results and my why changed for the first time. My why has changed a couple times. But I realized I could show up as myself for other people and I had something to offer. I had something that could help them, whether it was mental health, whether it was arthritis issues, chronic pain. As I started learning, I was like, there's no way it really helps with hormones like they think it does. It did. It is. It's working. And it's kind of just changed things for me, changed my why. But right now, if I were to say, like at the beginning of this call, I was like, I could write down my why right now, like I know what it is. And I would say helping women thrive in their health and finances and gathering women that want to give that too. Because I love getting women together and talking about this because in my life, I've been at times surrounded by women that share similar thoughts and wanting to lift each other, but I've also been around women that don't lift each other, that just tear each other down, and it makes them feel better when they're tearing each other down or when they're talking negatively about their husbands or negatively about whatever. I didn't walk away from some of those conversations feeling like a better version of me. I walked away from those conversations feeling crappy or thinking, well, my husband kind of does that too, or, whatever it was. And it just isn't a healthy environment. There's no reason to thrive on that. But our community is something that people need. People need, and they might say, oh yeah, I don't need friends. Like me and Christy have joked that that was literally a thought of mine. I'm good with the friends I've got because I have a couple of friends. I have a lot of friends, and I have my husband, and we're good. But it's like kind of crazy. And Katie shared about wanting to be what Kimberly was for her or what Kim was for her. But you guys, the first time that I met these ladies, I was super new. I was like a month in on the products, 6 weeks maybe. And I went to a line and I shared a hotel room. Me and Nicole Jones and Christy all slept in a queen size bed. 3 of us. But we sat down at dinner the one night and I was just kind of looking on this table of these women that have known each other for years. And Katie was like, there's room at our table for you, Sammy. And she's like, there's room. And I was like, she's saying that. I don't know if she really means that. Nothing against Katie, but just in my head, I'm like, is there really this is like a pretty powerful group of women. And I'm like, I'm the new girl here and I don't know what's going on. I just know that I'm kind of having results and I was surprised by my cycle and I'm kind of feeling better, but is there really room? And you guys, that is a mantra that this team lives by. There is room. There is room for more people. It's not like, oh, you're in the inn and now you're in. And so here we are, we've got our little inn, our little circle. No, we have a horseshoe. It's not a circle. There's room for people to come. There's room for people at the table. And this team really lives by that mantra. So my why still is helping women thrive in their health because that is priceless. When you're being told by doctors, take this medication that's going to do X, Y, and Z. It's defeating. It doesn't feel good. The fact that I can give that is still my why, and that will never change. Helping people in their finances. When I had girls in the beginning that were having results that I would not stay on the products unless they could get them paid for, that's a huge blessing that I can give to them. Creating this environment where people feel like they have a place. It's not creating it, it is what it is. It's just healthy women thriving and helping other women thrive, and it's contagious, and we want people here, and we want them to know that they belong. So also helping people accomplish their goals is a part of my why, and I didn't know that would be. But when I help people hit their goals, it is like Christmas morning to me. So that is my why.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you, Sammy. I love how everyone brings a different feel and a different vibe, but yet we're so united. And Synergy is all about that. Like all of our different unique gifts, bringing them to the table and making something so beautiful and well-rounded that is just delicious and scrumptious, right? Thank you so much for sharing, you guys. So I want to issue a challenge at the end of this call, every single one of us, and I am going to do this as well because we are in this together. Revamp your why. You've got your solid bones. I've got my solid bones that will never change, but expand that. Maybe we're thinking small. How could we take that why and think and dream and expand our hearts and our minds just a little bit bigger to include more people, to appeal to more people who are waiting for us. So expand your why, update your why, and then share it with someone. Like big guns would be to share it like social media or something like that. But who cares how you share it? Share it with someone on this call. Share it with a friend. Share it with someone that you feel safe with. Share it on the team page. If you want to do a post on Synergy and say, this is my updated why, we would love to hear from you. Every single one of you, we want to hear from you because we're going to back you up and support you and love you for exactly what your why is. So that's the challenge. My last challenge, I wore my especially jingly bracelet. So we won a shopping spree to Tiffany & Company in Maui. You see that super, super like jangly thing right there with all the hearts? That's the thousands of hearts. My why is so deeply rooted in my heart. This is my why. It's those thousands of hearts. We found thousands of them, but I know there's thousands more. This is a constant reminder of my why. So that when I sit down to work and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. Because guys, spoiler alert, you are not going to want to do this work every day. You're not going to feel hyped up to do it. Oh yeah, the eye of the tiger, I've got this. There's going to be days where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. But you glance down and you see a reminder on your wrist or your face or your necklace or your mirror, some sort of reminder of your beautiful, deeply rooted pillar of a why. And guess what? You're going to be like, eye of the tiger, let's do this, right? It is the thing that's the secret sauce. It is the thing that makes everything smoother. It makes the defeats sweet because you're like, cool, let's move on. I can see my vision. I know my why. Let's keep going, right? So find a way to create a reminder for yourself so that you are always thinking of it, bringing attention to it, your focus, your energy, because you will start to create it. I am living proof of that, you guys. Absolute poster child for your why, driving something and creating something that's mind-boggling, right? It's a God thing. It's a team thing. But you got to show up, sister, because your unique contribution can't be counterfeited. Like you're the only one that can show up in the way that you are destined to. So that's the challenge. Who's up for the challenge? Update your why, share it. Chris is up for it. Raise your hand if you're up for this challenge. Create a reminder, either a bracelet or a ring or something so that you can anchor to that why and do the work to make it happen. And just remember, you guys, the why is beautiful and those emotions help us anchor. It always needs to be followed by action, okay? Because we've got to get our minds and our thoughts straight and then move into action. Do something today, right now, to move the needle, to make it so. I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. There's room for everyone, for your people. You are loved, you are cherished. Thank you for spending time with us today. And thank you for sharing, all you beautiful souls that shared. We love you so much. Bye, guys.